what does substantially similar mean? The amorphous test has left people guessing about what's legal. Unlike the traditional war against heroin, cocaine, and other well-known drugs, when it comes to new substances, the government doesn't always announce which ones it thinks are illegal before bringing charges. Adding to the uncertainty, the DEA's own scientists have disagreed about which chemicals are substantially similar to others. Indeed, a senior research chemist with the agency thought the spice Burton and Ben sold was legal. That would have seemed to save them. But the government chemist was arrested before he could take the stand in their defense. 1. Humpty Dumpty's Designer Drug War. In the spring of 1990, Charles Burton Ritchie sold a foil-wrapped sugar cube to an undercover cop at a Pensacola nightclub. The state prosecutor's office brought LSD charges against the 19-year-old addict. The judge set bail at $10,000. That was more than Burton, he goes by his middle name, could afford on his mall store salary from Cutlery World. His mom, Linda, refused to bail him out. She thought her son was on the wrong path. He'd been drinking whatever liquor and taking whatever drugs he could get his hands on. Though he was charged with pushing acid, there was nothing revolutionary or spiritual about Burton's offense. That March night at the place on East Indentencia Street, Burton was turning a profit, however meager. The Alabama-born hustler had what one friend called a selling ice to Eskimos persuasiveness, but another called the ability to sell shit-covered popsicles to women in white gloves. The cube was just another widget for Burton, no different from the cinnamon toothpicks and lollipops he sold growing up. Burton's mom worked with his public defender to put him in a pretrial diversion program. The judge gave him probation, accepting a no-contest plea to the drug charge. It appearing to the satisfaction of the court that you are not likely again to engage in a criminal course of conduct, the judge's boilerplate order read, the ends of justice and the welfare of society do not require that you should presently be adjudged guilty and suffer the penalty authorized by law. The deal came with a laundry list of conditions, like drug testing, counseling, and paying various court fees. The arrangement kept Burton clean. He hasn't used since he drank a celebratory beer after his release that summer. It also kept him out of prison for a couple of decades. Meanwhile, another young entrepreneur faced drug charges out west in Colorado. The defendant there beat the case too, but only after a strange court battle, foreshadowing one that Burton would fight years later. Damon Forbes was a biochemistry student at the University of Colorado. He ran what the feds branded a phony company, Isotech Labs. Its address was his mom's house in Denver. Through his company, Forbes ordered a substance called AET. It was previously sold as an antidepressant under the brand name Monase, before the Psychic Energizer was taken off the shelves in 1962, following reports of negative side effects. But AET still wasn't controlled. It was available directly from chemical companies. Writing on Isotech Labs' letterhead in 1989, Forbes ordered AET for laboratory use only, not for drug, household, or other uses. Undercover agents bought thousands of dollars worth of AET from Forbes and his associates. The sellers supposedly said it was ecstasy, but lab tests showed it was AET, not the controlled substance MDMA that's synonymous with the euphoric drug. But without a law in the books saying AET was illegal, what could the government do? As it turns out, there was a law in the books saying AET, and possibly anything else, might be illegal. The Analogue Act. It punishes people who sell drugs that are substantially similar to controlled ones. But the DEA chemist who examined the AET in Forbes' case didn't think it was substantially similar to a controlled drug. That meant it wasn't an analog in the government chemist's view. In other words, he thought it was legal. Nonetheless, the DEA brought the case to the Colorado U.S. Attorney's Office. But after he heard